It's a matter of opinion if I'm right, but I'm leaving no for now to go outside, putting chores and obligations on our part.
A woman by the name of Heather Finley, who was driving while intoxicated, was driving 25 miles per hour over the speed limit, struck and killed four mothers. And when everything was said and done, she wound up only getting 4 years. Yeah, it's just a absolutely horrific story. So let me give you some background to what happened. A Florida woman who was driving under the influence and nearly 25 miles over the speed limit when she crashed into another vehicle, killing four black mothers, will spend 4 years in prison, followed by 6 years of probation. The family of the victims pleaded with the judge to reconsider the plea deal, but Circuit Court Judge Larry Metz said it was the only way to guarantee that the driver, Heather Finley, would spend time behind bars. The maximum possible sentence was about 37 years. So wait a minute. We hear situations of judges all the time when things is let like when a sentence is given out for the jury and he takes matters into his own hands and add other conditions and all this stuff into it. And you mean to tell me that was the only way you would be able to get charges pressed on her? What happened to taking things to trial?
Okay, so
That's
they definitely did take the stuff to trial, but the problem was the evidence wasn't always there. Like there was misappropriation of evidence. So you were trying to avoid the case being thrown out, because if the case was thrown out, then they may not have been able to charge it again. So this person could have went free because of how they were handling everything. They did not do the breathalyzer early enough. Like they did it, but they waited so long to do it. So she was almost at the limit at that point, but they waited so long to do it. So like there were quite a few missteps with the police department at that time. And you're talking, this is a case from believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was like 2018, 2019. But
I
there was
I
just so many things
yeah,
that
but
were dropping the ball for them not to be able to get through it.
I hear you on that. But just the strength of you was going 25 miles per hour. You were 59 in a 35 miles per hour zone. That alone should be able to put charges on you.
Correct. But in the
Cause here's the thing. If you're telling me a truck driver whose brakes failed going down a hill and wind up killing and injuring people, and he got over 100 something years. And here's this woman who was going over the speed limit, was clearly intoxicated, and just because you didn't take the DUI right then and there, the breathalyzer right then and there, you still can't get them for the speeding, because
it's
that's what happened with this trucker.
correct. And it's not the fact of the speeding, but the problem is you also needed the black box to substantiate the speeding. And the problem is the black box went missing. So when you start losing evidence that is proving the case the opposite direction, then guess what? Her lawyer can start challenging. Oh, well, how do you know she was going 59? Do you have the radar gun with the information? Do you have the black box from the vehicle? So when all of that stuff starts going, those are things that start going, okay, well, no black box. This may be the fact, but you can't prove the fact, so you have to take that off the case. Then it's like,
I'm
okay,
I'm
like, and I
sorry.
get it. Yes,
This
it's like I said,
this
it's the outrage of
this
that you're
speaks
basically saying one
this
black mother's life is 1 year.
yes.
Yes, that is
This
hard.
speaks of absolute privilege. That's what this speaks of, because you have many of cases where the person have all the chips, the ducks in a row that say, "Hey, I was innocent. I was innocent. I was innocent." But the word of a policer usurps it.
When the cops are the ones
Now,
that's
but
dropping the
now
ball, what do you do? You can't do nothing. Like the judge's
there
hands
was
is tied because you have to charge it based off of facts. And when you don't have the facts to go with it, they fumbled his whole case. And it's like, okay, well, we got to give her something. And 30, like you said, 37 was the max that you could give her. When you don't have all of your ducks in a row, you're not getting the max. And matter of fact, you barely got the
look.
minimum.
This is what I'm saying about privilege, because it seems like this is just my opinion on the matter. I seem like those steps were taken purposely. That's how I honestly. That's my opinion. I'm not
And it
saying that's
probably
fact
should
or
have been.
anything. That's how I feel about it. I don't care. I don't care how much mishandling that you do. The fact that you were speeding and you hit and kill somebody, you should be done. Like that's
I
it.
understand.
That's the way I look at it. Soon as that gun, the cop has the radar, or whatever, or the camera was looking at the vehicle to try to, you're done. That's how I
Correct.
look at it.
And think about
Um,
it. People have gone to jail for less. You're talking that's 4 people. There's 4 people that do not have their lives right now. That
That's
could have been
for
4
that's
4
for women
consecutive
that don't have
sentences.
their lives. That's children that don't have their mothers. That's families that lost their sister, their aunt, all of this. And their life is basically 1 year.
But you have to look at what Hold Up just said. Assumptions don't hold up in court though. It's
Uh,
basically what all you can prove.
I know assumptions doesn't hold up in court. Let's look at the woman who was the nurse, right? Who was flying down the street and wind up killing them people or whatever.
Mhm.
There was no radar gun, and now she's probably going to be put under the jail.
Correct, but it was
So
also a
so
different state. You're talking that's New York
I
compared to Florida.
I understand it's a whole different state, but my
But
whole thing
you
is
gotta think
what
about it, different laws dictate what a judge can do and can't do, and that's the problem. It's like when you have a police force that blatantly lost information, that blatantly didn't do the stuff on time, and then it's like, "Okay, do I give her these
but
4
but but
as a
Erica,
plea deal because that's
but
what
Erica,
she
but
agreed
Erica,
to,
but
or do I
Erica,
give her nothing?"
but that's a disservice from that judge because the family was more than willing to go to trial. They begged him to make it go to trial, and he said no. That's shame on
Because
him.
if it went to trial with all of the
But
evidence,
so let
it
the
would not have gone anywhere.
but the family was good with that. That's what I'm saying. It's not, if the family is willing to take that sacrifice, that's that's their choice. They're the one that lost somebody. Why is the judge
Correct,
now
but the
usurping
problem is
that?
the judge has to you gotta think about it too. A lot of times these kind of cases don't just go to him. It probably had it probably went to grand jury for them to
Erica,
bring this case over.
Erica, the bottom line is the family was willing to take that chance. You
But
took it
that
out of their hands.
correct, but the problem is it's not up to the family when it's those kind of cases. It's up to the state in those kind of cases. That's the problem.
But the judge still had the final word to say we're gonna attempt to go to trial.
Correct,
And
but
if
the
you're
correct. What you said, it was his final
exact
decision to say yes or no.
so he did a
And he
disservice because if I'm telling you, yo, you killed my kid, you might have a chance to walk, but I want you to take it to trial. If you as the judge take that option away from me, I feel like you failed me because this is what I want. You're not the one that lost somebody. I did. So why are you taking that out of my hands?
But you got to
Let
remember,
me
they're as the family, they're not the ones who brought this case up. That's the difference. They could have took it to civil court and they brought the case up. This was not something that they brought up. This was the state that brought it up for them. So that's the difference too,
It is
on
the
who brings
difference,
up them cases.
but the judge still could have took what the family said into consideration and said, "That's what y'all want to do, fine." But
Correct,
just
but they
know,
don't have to. But that's the problem.
but
The judge don't have to, and they're not supposed to look at outside factors when they make their decisions. That's the problem. Look, being that judge, you can't look at what everybody else is telling you. You can't do that because then guess what? They can declare it as a mistrial because he utilized outside factors instead of the facts.
how is that outside factors if the family's just saying, "Yo, let it go to trial"?
Because the judge ultimately does what can be proved by the lawyers that bring up those cases.
I'm sorry, I felt like the judge failed that family. I would have, me as a parent, if the person killed my child in a DUI, I would feel much better knowing that it went through trial to try and put maximum sentencing on this person as opposed to just a little measly 4 years that this person got, because it's like you stripped my fighting chances away from me. Now it's a closed shut case. Look at freaking R. Kelly, man. R. Kelly beat cases, and now years down the line he's now being charged for those cases that he was acquitted for and stuff like that. You literally took that out of my hands.
Correct, but sometimes with those kind of cases, just as long as it's thrown out without prejudice, you can bring them back up. So that's the only time you can't re-bring those up.
Look, like I said, man, you took all the fighting chance out of me. All the avenues that I could have possibly took, even if it was thrown out, you stripped it away from me. That's how I view it. Let us know in the comment section, who do you side with? Erica, breaking stuff down, or my views on this, because I feel like that judge failed that family wholeheartedly.
It's a matter of opinion.